We going?
We gone.
Oh,
welcome to Hunter.
Fucking
Welcome to Read Weens
Hunter episode.
Never stop hunting for your dreams.
Yo, Hunter x Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Hunter x Hunter. Anyone watching this who calls it Hunter Hunter, go wreck yourself.
What if you do what I do?
Which is
Hunter squared.
I occasionally call it Hunter squared. I occasionally do Hunter times Hunter, Hunter by Hunter.
Hunter
crossing Hunter.
Hunter crossing Hunter, yeah. You know, you gotta have fun with it. So on this episode of Read Weens, we read the first 5 major arcs.
Going, catching the fish.
York New.
That's the best arc.
Wait. Exam, Heaven's Arena, York New. The first 4 major arcs.
If you throw in Killua's house.
Yeah, it's like a mini arc.
Yeah, that one's real small.
Like 4.5 arcs. Essentially the first 180 chapters. The prologue, if you will, to Hunter Hunter.
Kind of like the East Blue of One Piece.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's very accurate.
Yeah, kind of. Not the section we read, but kind of where the anime leaves off. It's like kind of like that. In a sense, because you basically are like, oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to get into specifics on that.
So Hunter Hunter is a shonen story about a boy named Gon who is trying to find his dad in this world that's scary. Very, very scary. There are these people called hunters, and a hunter can kind of be whatever, but you're essentially like free to do whatever the fuck you want. Ish, kind of. For the most part,
you get like a perma get out of jail free card,
and it's worth license. The hunter license is one of the most sought after things in the world because it kind of gives you free access to everything, but only like the top like percentile of anyone gets them. They're really coveted and sought after. It provides a lot of resources, so it kind of follows Gon's story to become a hunter and find his dad, who he has heard is one of the most well-known hunters in the world. Mm-hmm. Along the way, he meets one of his best friends, Killua, who is the son of an assassin family, Kurapika, who is the last living member of his clan, and some college guy who wants to be a doctor named Leorio. Kind of doesn't kind of a... No, he's the best character of it. The first 4 major arcs, I guess we'll just kind of go in order. First up is the Hunter exam arc, kind of just the introduction to our characters.
Yeah, I think the first half of this arc is really bland.
It's very bland.
It's
sucks.
Yeah, it's just kind of all the basic bitch shonen tropes.
Yeah. Done
in the most basic bitch way. I tend not to really start enjoying myself until the end of the second exam. There are moments here and there where it's like, I can kind of start to feel it brewing up, but that second exam, the cooking one, I'm not a big fan of.
You love that one.
Sure. No?
He doesn't. I don't even think you're.
Yeah, they had to get the spider eggs.
Yes.
The spider eggs.
Yes, the spider eggs. After the sushi and the pigs.
It just kind of feels like they're going nowhere in a lot of the hunter exam. Like, yeah, but where are we going with this? And then they just...
Yeah. I'm a much bigger fan of the second hunter exam we see. Cause
the one that takes 5 seconds?
Yeah, because Killua just goes through. I like it a lot more in the anime because you actually see him do it.
Yeah.
But
I like the implied win. I like that idea.
Yeah.
What did you think of the first part of the Hunter exam where they have to walk?
It was fine.
I remember watching that for the first time, just being like, what? Like, why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like, oh, they're gonna walk for a bunch of miles. They had to do all sorts of weird, wacky stuff, like prove to a captain of a boat that they are worthy for the exam, and then they had...
It's a lot of weeding out a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, like, I get that to an extent. Like,
I would have probably broken that down from, like, 3 down to, like, 2 segments. I think that middle question segment really isn't necessary.
I I agree and I disagree. I think it's important that there's some level of morality involved ish. Even though like a lot of terrible people become hunters, I still think that they have a form of moral compass.
No, I agree. I think that they probably could have like worked that into like either the boat guy or
that one's always felt a little like, okay, but why is this here? This feels very nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, then they have to run for a while, and then they get into the super swamp.
The super I forgot about that swamp, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's in the anime they do a little more to kind of liven up that environment. Like they fight some of the things, but I had a big problem because like you get one of the infamous like info dump pages where it's like basically just notes out of his world building thing, but then you never see any of those things utilized within the actual story.
And that sucks because there's a lot of really weird and wacky creative creatures that just aren't on display here, and that makes me sad.
Yeah, and it's like it would have been nice to maybe see some of our main characters like have to go through them as obstacles as opposed to just, oh, this is stuff that I will never see ever. So,
but they exist.
Exist.
And it's like I'm not even necessarily opposed to that sort of thing, but that's the kind of stuff that I like for like question corners as opposed to like actual pages of the narrative that you're trying to read.
Yeah, I think we'll get into that later on, but Togashi is really good at presenting a lot of really cool ideas, but not showing them a lot of the time, especially in the manga. I think the anime bridges that a lot more because you just have more time that you're with the material.
One thing about the like info dump pages, it drives me fucking insane when he did it in Greed Island because he kept just being, here's a bunch of cards that you'll never see. And I'm like, I don't want to see any pages about what the cards are. Fuck you.
I know. I like that it was just like one extra page in the back, and it's just like
they did it at the beginning too. Yeah. It was like here's all these cards. I'm like,
they do it a few times throughout.
I think I obviously liked this manga a lot less than both of you.
That's fine.
But I think the thing that bothered me the most is the way he structures his information to be given to the audience. It's all in big dumps. Like it never feels like a natural way of showing off anything, it seems. It's just like, and here's how Nen works. I'm like, you don't need to tell me this yet. A lot of the things I'm like, I don't need to know this for another 50 chapters.
Yeah, that's definitely valid.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, from what I recall, I think that's like strictly a problem he has within Hunter x Hunter. It's not cool. I mean, it's present a little bit here and there in Yu Yu Hakusho, but
not to this degree though.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like. I feel like he was a bit more ambitious on kind of all fronts when it came to Hunter x Hunter.
Absolutely.
And what he was trying to accomplish. And sometimes not for the better, but sometimes definitely for the better.
For sure. Oh, and then, so they do a bunch of just extra exams that most of them don't really matter. There is one scene where they're traveling between events or challenges and the blimp. Chairman Netero, he's kind of the token really cool old guy character. Yes, very. He plays like Keep Away with Gon and Killua, and they almost get him, which is really funny looking back now, because I'm just like,
Yeah, the juxtaposition of
they do the same thing. I'm guessing he just becomes insanely powerful, in comparison.
He's kind of a god.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They do the same thing in like Bleach.
Yeah, no, like it's
these captains, were they just fucking with them the first time they showed up because they're just world enders pretty much.
Yeah, no, Netero is
not only that, but like the tone of his character shifts drastically because like the first time you see him, it's like
I'm an old man.
Yeah, I'm the old man. I'm gonna play with these kids.
And you might see him for a cameo here and there before, but he's not like relevant again until the Chimera Ant arc, and that arc is very dark and very dire. So his mood has changed significantly in that arc.
It's really funny knowing how the arc concludes and then seeing the beginning of just Hunter x Hunter. I'm just like, it's weird because I haven't visited Hunter x Hunter since watching the anime, and so knowing what I know now, rereading everything, a lot of things are a lot clearer.
Yeah, no,
definitely. But the end of the Hunter exam arc ends with a tournament arc, but reverse, where there's only one loser and everyone else wins.
Kind of like Jenga.
Kind of Jenga. Yeah. I personally really like the idea of the reverse tournament arc. I dug it when I first saw it, and I still dig it now.
Yeah, I like it, and I like that, it was willing to kind of defy expectations a bit, because it's like, if it were any other show, like if we were like reading Naruto, when Gon goes up against the ninja guy, I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Like, he would have found...
Hanzo. There we go.
He would have found...
I remember everything about Hunter x
Hunter. He would have found some way through his pure grit and determination to, like, overcome it. But, like, nah, that's not really what happens. I mean, he technically wins because he gives up, because he's like, alright.
I'm not gonna brutally torture this kid.
Well, he does a little bit.
He does a little bit.
He's like, I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Yeah. He's like, alright.
Which, again, just that whole scene, I'm just like, Gon is insane.
Yeah, Gon...
He's just fucking crazy from the get-go. Yeah. Like, I always knew that he was crazy from the get-go, but just like, no, I'm not gonna give up. You're gonna need to torture me in order for me to... You're gonna need to kill me, and if you kill me, everyone else wins and you lose. So he's just like, I'm not gonna torture a child. This guy's insane.
Yeah, Gon is very reckless, and that is kind of the common trait that keeps building upon over the course of what we read today, and kind of comes to a head in the next arc after, but...
Yeah. So the way the tournament ends is Killua just kills some guy.
Yeah, so I guess we left out the fact that over the course of this arc, Gon has kind of sparked up a rivalry with Hisoka, who is
creepy clown guy.
Very, very villainous. But yeah, he sparks up beef with him, and Killua ends up discovering that, one of Hisoka's friends, who's also in the exam, is secretly his brother in disguise.
Not Pinhead.
Not Pinhead.
Not really Pinhead. A very pretty gentleman.
So, this is an important fact. In the anime, not Pinhead, when he, like, talks, his face, like, is constantly shaking and rattling around.
I've seen enough of that.
Okay, he's constantly, like, rattling whenever he talks.
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, fucking... I know he's evil, but he's so fucking hot. Anyway.
I disagree. I think it looks like a weirdo.
Well, that's fair.
I think every single person in Hunter x Hunter looks like a weirdo except for, like, Leorio.
Yeah. Kurapika's pretty hot, too.
That's a child.
Kurapika?
17.
I take that back. Never mind.
I really don't like this first arc.
I am indifferent at this point. I think there's a lot of very interesting stuff that gets shown, but you don't realize. But I still think that the Hunter exam arc is still by far, like, just the weakest arc of Hunter x Hunter. Even going through it the first time, like, once I cleared the Hunter exam arc, I'm just like, cool, the story got significantly better.
I will say, I liked it substantially better than I did watching it. I think watching it was such a snooze fest for me. And then reading it, I'm like, oh, thank God, it's over. Yeah, that was quick.
The anime spends a lot of time doing the exam.
They do. They spend so much time on, like, the running, and then the fucking scene there, the challenge against the prisoners. Yeah, takes fucking 5 episodes. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's actually a whole. It's not even a chapter in this, but in the anime they do, like, a whole filler episode where all that time they lost and they have to spend in that room, you get, like, an episode where it's like, here's them in the room. And I kind of actually...
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that episode because it allows for some like little just extra character bits here and there. But yeah, it's... yeah, I can see why that would fucking drive some people crazy.
Yeah.
And if you guys think it's bad in that anime, don't watch the 99 anime because the Hunter exam arc is like... Because it's like 18 episodes or something.
I mean, it's still shorter than the 2011.
No, in the 2011 it's like 18 episodes. It's 33-ish episodes.
Jesus Christ!
They have filler in it too.
So
yeah, there's like extra exams and stuff, like extra challenges they have to do. So it's a lot longer. But yeah. The 99 anime is really good, but not that first arc.
Yeah.
That first arc is really weird. Once they get to York New, that's where it starts to like really kind of come into itself.
I agree. Speaking of, that's the next arc. York New.
Kind of.
They go to Killua's house.
They go to
and it's really cool.
They go to Killua's house because basically Killua, after being manipulated by his brother, kills that guy, loses, and goes back home. So Gon and crew decide, like, oh, we're gonna go
we're gonna go get him. We're gonna go pick him up.
So they figure out where he lives, and it's like this giant mountain, and Killua comes from a family of elite assassins. So they're just like, they kind of have to train just to get into the property, and from there on, like, they don't make it very far before, like, the family's just like, alright, you can go. And
I fucking hate the ending of this arc.
That's fair. I can see why.
I feel the same way about the Hunter exam, though. I think both of them end so abruptly, and I'm just like, and it's over.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of...
That's how I feel about most of these arcs we're talking about today.
That's kind of how all the arcs, except for, like, I feel like Greed Island and Forward, he does much better at not... Even if it does end abruptly, he's got, like...
There was a point to an abruptness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you can at least have a feeling of, oh, this is starting to wind down. Well, it's like, we're gonna say Killua, and then in one chapter he's like, I'm out! Like, it was kind of funny in the sense, like, I'm leaving. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, so... They save Killua, and, you know, this arc's meant to get across. You just get to meet some of his family, some of the people...
The whole point was just to introduce his family.
Introduce his family, that was just introduce, like, the servants, and show that, like, there are people there who do care for Killua. And also to kind of, like, dig into, Killua's family dynamic. Like, the main thing that I like from this arc that we do get, some... insight into is his relationship with his dad and how manipulative his dad is.
Incredibly manipulative.
Yeah.
Now that guy's hot.
Yeah.
I see it. I see it.
I don't like his snake eyes.
Oh, they're great. What are you talking about?
I mean, in terms of design, I like his snake eyes. I just don't find them sexy.
I really like
I'd fuck a snake.
that there's just a tour bus that just drives to the outside of the property. Like, this is the scary murder family.
Yeah,
They live up like 4 miles up the road. You can't go in there.
This is as far as we can legally and life-wise go.
Yeah. They got the dog, Simon, or whatever his name is. He's cool. I like him.
Yeah, big dog.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the big horrible monster man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's cool. But yeah, basically, Killua's like, alright, let's go.
And then everyone kind of goes their separate ways. This is a recurring theme where it's Killua and Gon against the world, and Kurapika and Lior are kind of just fucking around, doing their own thing. So after the rescuing of Killua, everyone's like, okay, we gotta go take care of some stuff. We're all gonna meet in York New.
Like a year from today.
Was it a year? No, it wasn't a year. It was
like 9 months or something.
Yeah, it was a decent amount of time. No, like 6 months.
Was it 6 months?
6 months.
6 months.
Oh, okay.
So in the meantime, Gon and Killua decide, we're weak. We need to get stronger. So they go to a place that Killua's been before called Heaven's Arena. It's giant floor-by-floor tower battle. Go as high as you can, get money, get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy on the premise, but the whole arc serves to introduce the combat system to Hunter x Hunter Nen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to describe all of Nen because it's very fucking complicated. And a lot of parts to it, but basically there are six
like rock, paper, scissors, but with 6 things.
Kinda?
Yeah,
not really.
Yeah, Nen can be broken down into
So you got 6 categories.
Yeah,
you got enhancers, make yourself strong or make something strong. You got transmuters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Change stuff. Emitters, send your Nen is just your life force chakra, whatever it. No, but yes.
Yeah.
Emitter, shoot your Nen. Conjurer, create something. Specialist, you don't really fit into any of those categories, and usually your powers are very, very cracked. And then manipulators. So change things.
Change their aura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the main issue I have with Nen is I really don't like it when stories pretend to have a grandiose magic system or fighting system, but then they still just write it however they need the characters to use it. I'm fine when it's just we're just gonna have them do whatever's needed for the plot. That's fine. But I don't like it when they hide behind a system that seems really complicated, but then they just kind of do whatever they need. When it seems like, at least in these arcs, it mostly felt like they were just doing that. In my opinion.
What's an example?
That's a great question.
Because I can see that. I think, especially later on in Greed Island, there's some weirdness where they kind of combine a lot of the basic elements and go beyond them. But each one of the characters have a pretty defined ability. It's just they figure out how to use their ability in a different way.
Yeah, well, I mean, that. I guess if you're going to have a predefined ability and then you're just going to be but I can actually use it in a completely different way, that sometimes can just be annoying to me. Because I'm just but then just don't have predefined abilities. Or don't have a thing that's seemingly set in stone. These are the things you can do. And it's but actually, I can do all these things too.
Yeah, I personally don't have that issue. I can see where that issue might pop up for Kurapika, because with his scarlet eyes, he definitely breaks the power system.
that's definitely an asshole. But I also think that's fine because it's just Kurapika and
that's kind of how I feel.
That's even more of it when it's just, if it's just everyone breaking things, I'm that's fine. But if it's just one character, I'm why isn't everyone doing that?
Well, no, I think with Kurapika specifically, it's fine. I'm at least fine with it because
the limitations.
There are hard limitations that Kurapika realistically cannot beat up Gon, for example. That is never going to happen. However, Kurapika versus literally any of the spiders, which is the entire purpose of him, he's always going to win that because he is only caring about that. The wider world can probably beat him up very, very easily. Probably fighting chance, but way more even, probably leaning towards an opponent's side versus him fighting Uvogen, for example, is such just the fight was over before it began because that's just Kurapika has just a lifetime of prep time against the spiders, 8 people, or 10 people, 12 people, however many people specifically in the world that he will 100% win. Everybody else, probably not. And in that instance, I totally agree. I think it's ass-pulley to a degree, but I'm fine with it because it's only one circumstance that matters. And it's the only circumstance that makes sense to Kurapika. Yeah. And that's kind of similar with everybody in Hunter x Hunter. As Nen abilities kind of get further specialized and gone through it, it's very much JoJo stands to a degree where it's this is a very specific niche power to this person, there probably exists exactly one perfect counter to it.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly fine with that system because I think that's a great system.
Yeah. I also like the fact that Nen is basically just kind of trying to give Togashi the freedom to basically, like, implement any sort of power style. Like, if he wants, like, a DBZ-esque Uvojin where it's like, yeah, bullets bounce off him and he's super strong and super fast, he can do that. But if he wants to do, like, more like the JoJo thing, he can. So I really enjoy the kind of utilization of it. My main problem with Nen, I don't think it's complicated.
I don't think it's complicated.
I think there's just
but
a
I
lot
think
of
the
parts
naming
to it.
scheme is what makes it seem complicated. Because you have like
Yo
Nen,
and Yo and Ken
Yo.
and N.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just parts to it to keep track of.
It's, I think he's knowingly being obtuse to seem like the system is more complicated than it is, which is also something that I'm kind of annoyed by.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
And I also, like I said, I really don't like how they introduce Nen. It's just like so sudden, and it's an info dump, and it's just.
I like Nen in the way it's introduced through like Hisoka and the stairway.
Yeah, I think that's
I originally thought that's how it was originally introduced. I forgot that they had met up with Wayne and done like where he lies to them first. I forgot about that whole interaction.
I also forgot about the interaction.
And yeah, I think in that regard, I'm not like fan of how they introduced Nen.
No, I agree. I think the manga especially is really bad at just info dumping you and then just needing to move directly on. At least with like the anime, like you get reminder, like we're watching an episode and like just went over like all the basic trees, just like very simply. I'm like, I'm fine with like reminders like that, and like I think that's why I was able to just digest it a lot easier with the anime versus the manga. It's just like, here's all the rules. You better know them because they're gonna be all relevant, kind of sometimes. You know, so I think that's definitely a mark against the manga, and think that that should not be there. It should have been handled differently. I wish it were handled differently.
Yeah.
I had a lot of issues, like the Heaven's Arena arc in general, I think is like fine, but I think a lot of the issues that I have with the story in general come about here. Like, I really don't like the pacing in which he amplifies his character's strengths. It just is like, it always feels like, we're gonna go train, and then it's 5 seconds later, it's like, and we're more powerful now. And it happens in like a ton of shonen, but I don't know, something about the way he wrote it, I just really could not get behind. I was like, okay, we're stronger.
Yeah.
Like, and I know it happens in Dragon Ball, I know it happens in Bleach, I know it happens in Naruto, but it's just something about the way he wrote it in this. It never feels like, at least to me, it never feels like those odds are really that stacked against them that they're like, we need to get stronger. It's just like, what if we got stronger? And they're like, we're stronger.
Yeah, power scaling has never really been one of Togashi's strong suits. It's something that he really struggles with at the end of like Yu Yu Hakusho. Like the power scaling in that series gets like really just out there by its final arc.
Also, just some of his explanations don't really make sense to me. Like, Killua, like, just being so powerful and then, like, not knowing anything about Nen, and just, it's
that one doesn't bother me because he's very powerful, but, like, he's also been kept in a very strict bubble of what his brother and father want him to know, and they would not want him to know Nen at this point in his life.
They also recognize the potential of Killua and need to, like, hard manipulate him.
I think I would have just preferred if there was more to the story before, like, this big Nen drop.
Or interspersing it throughout.
Yeah, like I said, the most of the power stuff and most of the info dumps just feel like they could be more gradual and naturally occur.
You are going to, if you decide to continue reading, you are going to hate post-Chimera Ant arc.
Of course I will.
He might hate Chimera, because, I mean, a lot of people love
the
Chimera
invasion
Ant
specifically.
arc.
I don't know if you're going to like.
Cool. I'll probably read it because now I'm kind of like morbidly curious.
Yeah, because I mean, like,
you also might like it a lot.
I might.
Yeah, I think that there are things you might be able to like from it, but I also think there are probably still a lot of Hunter x Hunter isms in it that you would still not like.
Yeah. But anyway, story-wise for Hunter's Arena, Heaven's Arena, they made this guy named Wing. They teach him about Nen, talked about Nen. They learn Nen really fast. That's another thing that I very much forgot, that they just kind of go like, yeah, Gon and Killua are really fucking cracked at this. Just kind of from the get-go. I'm just like, whatever, I'm fine with it. Let's just move on. Yeah, it's annoying, but I also don't care.
I think it makes sense within the context of like elite assassin family and genetic offspring of a fucking behemoth that was raised in the fucking wilderness.
That's not why. It's because of his shorts.
Is this shorts?
That's where he keeps all his Nen.
But
endless pockets.
They meet Hisoka. Gon and Hisoka have a really cool fight.
He gets back at him. There's this whole punch in the face tag arc that, I mean, he basically just tried to get a tag from Hisoka, and then Hisoka gave it back to him after he basically got it stolen from him. And he's like, doesn't feel like he's earned his hunter's license until he can punch Hisoka in the face and give him back this tag, which he does after.
Also, crucially, everyone besides Killua is a hunter, officially at this point. Killua is just kind of like tagging along.
Actually, the hunter exam has just begun.
No, it ends when they learn Nen.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it ends.
It officially ends when they learn Nen.
That's the final.
That's the final exam.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it?
No, it is. At least as far as...
Anyhow, so technically before Heaven's Arena they go home, right?
At the end of Heaven's Arena, they basically go, okay, let's split. Let's go back to Whale Island because I want to meet your Aunt Mito. So.
Yeah.
She is fine.
She is very fine. They go home.
I don't remember what she looks like.
Gon's aunt, who's effectively Gon's mother, because his mom is just MIA, and no one really knows or wants to talk about Gon's mother. She doesn't exist, functionally. But she goes, hey, here's this box. I think you're ready to learn about your dad. She kind of tells him...
Deku's dad.
Yeah. She tells him about Gon's dad. His name is Ging. There are essentially rankings to hunters, and he is, like, second from the top. I think one of the requirements is he has to be involved directly with, like, 2 major world-shattering events, which is fucking wild.
Yeah, there's a line tossed out by Kite where he says that he could be, like, the top certification of hunter. He doesn't care. Yeah, he hasn't gone in and filled out the paperwork for it.
Yeah, and
he's too busy making a video game.
Yeah, but they find this box that's locked with Nen. They open it up and they find a game cartridge and a ring and a tape recorder. And his dad's like, "Hey, if you found this box, that means you're trying to find me. You need to play this game me and my friends made called Greed Island. It's pretty sick. All right, bye."
And the tape explodes.
And the tape explodes because they pause it because he asks, like, if you want to hear more about your mother, listen on. If not, stop. And he decided to stop the tape, and the tape blew itself up. So now they have to go find a copy of Greed Island. It is a very rare game that costs several billion, like, of their currency, Jenny, which I think is close, equivalent to yen, I think?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Translation?
Yeah. And there are 7 copies being auctioned off in Yorknew, so good thing everybody's going to Yorknew, going to the big city. Remember when Yorknew started, you were like, why is it called Yorknew? But they just straight up put Japan in the world.
Yeah, like, why don't you just call it New York if Japan's right there?
I didn't notice that until you brought it up. I was like, that is pretty silly.
You should have called Japan Nepaj.
Yeah. So Gon and Killua get to Yorknew and they meet up with Leorio, and they're basically trying to just scrounge together money the entire time. But the main star for this arc, it kind of shifts away from Gon and Killua to Kurapika.
At least for the first half.
I'd say majority of it it's Kurapika's time.
Like, when it comes to the climax, yeah, but the second half is a lot more Gon and Killua focused, because they do, like, the tailing missions.
That's true.
Stuff, so.
That's true. There's a lot that happens in Yorknew.
Yeah, Yorknew is a really long arc. I like everything that happens in Yorknew, but I do admit, and this kind of goes to Hunter x Hunter as a whole. It has a little bit of a stream of consciousness narrative problem where it's like,
we're going to do this now, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this,
where the beats that you follow are more character beats instead of plot beats, so that can lead to like arcs being really dragged out sometimes. And yeah, York New is it's not like super big in terms of like actual quantity, but in terms of like the events that happen, it's a pretty big arc. Like there's a lot of shit that happens in York New.
The main thing York New serves to do is to introduce one of the villain factions, which is the Phantom Troop.
Mm-hmm.
They're a group of very dangerous, very powerful evildoers, kind of just fucking around.
Yeah.
They don't really have much of a goal. Just kind of causing chaos.
Mm-hmm. And they've all gathered in York New, and they haven't gathered in like 4 years.
A very long time.
Yeah.
I like the Phantom Troop a lot.
I do not.
I am in the middle of this. I like them enough. I particularly like their designs.
Mm.
In terms of their characterizations, aside from like Hisoka, not a whole lot going on for any of them. I do like Uvogin, and I do like Noabunga or whatever his name is. Nobunaga. Yeah. That's probably where like most of the heart of the Phantom Troop comes in for me.
You love them all.
I literally, and this is my main issue with Hunter x Hunter, is I think every character outside of like the main 5 are just incredibly like boring and like just I don't remember any of them.
He lives in a pre-Knuckle and Shoot world.
That's true.
Yeah, I love Knuckle and Shoot. Like the Phantom Troop, I remember Crollo. Is that his name?
Crollo's the main guy.
Yeah, and that's just because like the plot revolves around stuff with him, especially in like Greed Island stuff. And I remember the lady with the vacuum cleaner because she had a vacuum.
I don't know her actual name, but I always just call her Velma because she looks like Velma.
I at one point knew her name. I don't remember.
But it's just like I don't. And I said this to Joe. I've said this to you, and it's a lot of the characters in Hunter x Hunter, I just don't see any permanence to them. Like, as soon as they leave the page, I'm like, then they don't exist anymore. Like, they don't feel like characters to me. They just feel like plot points for the other characters.
You mean Zappelli? I don't like Zappelli. To be fair, I don't like that so much time in York New is spent on the section of the story where Gon and Killua are trying to like scrape together money, especially since like at the end of the day they basically go, well, this isn't working, why don't we try a new plan?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I hated York New. Like, I didn't necessarily like the first two, but the York New drove me fucking insane. And it's mostly just like, it feels so long. It's like, it was such a hassle to read.
The sections that were long were not the sections I remember being long, because I think the anime does a really good job of like every part kind of gets its time in the sun to like go through things, whereas like I agree, like the whole money thing that went on for way too long and not enough time was spent on the Phantom Troop. Again, like I think the anime just has better pacing in this regard. I still think like I like a lot of the bones of it just because I just like it, but I kept reading on about the fucking, we gotta find money. I'm like, when the fuck is this ending? It was not this long.
Yeah.
We can get past, like, this is cool. The auction guy is not gonna matter. Why are we here?
Yeah.
The Phantom Troop is here. I want to know more about that.
I didn't even really like most of the, like, when Gon and Killua are, like, tailing them, didn't really like that either. Because it just kind of felt like, and then they escaped, and then they kind of just got off scot-free. Like, it just kind of doesn't feel like it ends in a satisfying way.
Personally, I liked that whole section of the story. I liked...
I really liked when it started. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then it just kind of fizzles out for me.
Yeah, because I thought it was a good segue to bring Gon and Killua and that crew into Kurapika's plotline by putting the bounty on them. I think that you needed a little bit of Gon and Killua trying to make money, but yeah, they just dedicated way too much time to it. It was
so much longer than I remember it being.
But by time that they're tailing them, trying to get the bounty on the spiders, I like that, and I like that, fucking Nobunaga fucking tries to, like, he sees traits of Uvogin in Gon, and, like,
he just tries to recruit them.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna nominate them. And everybody's like, that's not a good idea. Like, but whatever, I get that. Like, nothing ventured, nothing gained. But then they're like, fine, but you're gonna stay behind and babysit. And they split up and trick him. And I don't know. I thought that their escape was fine. I didn't have any issues with it.
I think in the manga there were, like, I think a lot of, like, the major plot points were good. I think there wasn't enough time between them, or there wasn't a lot that mattered between them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can feel that. But yeah, parts of York New that I really liked. I think my favorite bit from all of York New is definitely Kurapika versus Uvogin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fight's incredible.
I like that fight a lot. And then that's pretty much all I like.
I like that, and I will always like Crollo's Requiem scene, just because that scene I really like.
Yeah,
the Symphony of Destruction. The manga doesn't do it justice.
No, the manga really doesn't.
Yeah. But it's still a really great scene. Just him, just atop the skyscraper, just watching this giant city burn because of him. I'm just like, I just like that. It's really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Crollo's fight with the Zoldycks.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was cool.
I forgot that happened. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I like even though it's a little anticlimactic, I do like the way that ends, where it just turns out Crollo fucking just hired fucking Lumi to fucking just kill the clients who hired.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking.
The other Zoldycks.
Yeah,
whatever their names are. Dad and Grandpa.
Yep. Silva and
Zeno.
Yeah.
Zenogata.
Oh, but yeah, and I like. I mean, I don't think it's like super like deep or complicated or anything, but I like the kind of hypocrisy of the Spider crew and how, you know, personally attached they feel to Crollo and how they don't have that same level of empathy for like anybody else. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think that it's kind of interesting that there's like people in the troupe who feel that way, but there's also people in the troupe who don't, which I think adds for like kind of some interesting conflict that I think could have been fleshed out a little more.
Definitely. There's a lot that felt left on the table with the manga.
Yeah, and the thing about it that's kind of hard, especially when critiquing it here, is that this portion of the story, while it's like the first half of the Phantom Troop narrative, because like all of that stuff gets addressed later on post-anime stuff. So it's like, I'm interested to see what happens in that section of the story and how it affects my view on this arc and how it kind of unfolds.
I think York New has really highlighted just like the dissonance I have from watching the anime and then reading this, because they're very different experiences, and I think I like the manga substantially less than the anime, but I still think it's good. I think York New is just another issue with that, because like, York New, the anime does such a good job of like introducing the troupe, getting you to care about them, know about them, and remember them, crucially. Whereas in the manga, everything just fucking happens. That might also just be me reading really fast because I know it all, but it still should have left more of a mark than it did.
No.
And that's the part that really missed with me.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel that. But yeah, the whole thing ends, basically, Kurapika puts a fucking chain around Cruella's heart and makes it so he cannot use Nen or talk to
any of the troop, and then just drop them in the middle of the desert and say bye-bye.
Yep.
Classic.
Yep. So that pretty much wraps up this arc.
Gon and Killua get the game. That they get because they were always going to get the game.
Finally, after 3 failed attempts, an auction is finally held, and instead of getting money, they just go to a billionaire who's going to buy the game, and they apply to be one of the players.
Yeah.
And they make the cut, and they get to go into the game. Meanwhile, Kurapika decides he's like, well, I'm going to go try to get my fucking people.
I'm gonna go become an underground crime lord to get my people's eyes.
Yep. So he takes off, and then Leora is like, well, I'm going back to med school. So they all kind of go their separate ways.
Going back to med school.
It's like, I had to take this important break to come meet you guys on the deadline. But now I'm going back to med school. And so Gon and Killua go into the game.
Greed Island!
And Greed Island.
What'd you think of Greed Island?
It was probably the best thing I read. I did not like it. I like the back half of Greed Island substantially more than the front half.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that the card system is completely pointless and also underutilized. It's like, I don't really see the point of this new system that they only use for this.
Yeah, it's more of a plot device than it is an actual power system.
Yeah, I think that just having them be dropped on this mysterious island would have been enough. It's just like, and now we're teleporting around with all these, and you can't have this because these people are monopolizing it. But I don't know. It's
Yeah, personally, I don't know. I don't mind that section of the story. I felt like it kind of felt... I like when I'm reading Read Island, I feel like I'm in a game that hasn't had live service in 3 years, but people are still playing it, and it's incredibly just out of whack.
I'm on the Halo 2 servers.
Yeah. It's just oh no, the people who are still playing this have been playing this for a really long time.
Oh no.
Oh god.
And I don't...
The giant guilds are fighting again.
Yeah, it's just So I kind of like that aspect.
Yeah, I do enjoy the front beginning because it feels that it is a lived-in game. People have been here. I like that they're arriving late to the scene. People have already been playing for years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't particularly like. I like Biscuit.
Yep,
she's okay. But the same thing, I'm like, do we ever see Biscuit again?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll probably, by the time we see her again, I'll be like, who the fuck's that?
No.
Or do I see her sooner?
Okay. You see her pretty early in Chimera.
Oh, okay. One thing that I haven't complained about yet, I don't like the way that action is drawn in Hunter x Hunter. For a while.
It's crude.
I think the first time there was an action scene that I liked to look at in the manga was the second dodgeball scene, which is the first time I'm like, I'm having fun reading Hunter x Hunter. I was like, holy fuck, I'm having fun. It kind of blew me away.
The dodgeball scene's really good.
It kind of blew me away because I don't think it's amazing, but like I said, I just wasn't feeling Hunter x Hunter throughout the whole thing. But then this scene, I'm just like, what is this feeling in my bones? It's enjoyment!
It's enjoyment!
What's it called? When it comes to the art of Hunter x Hunter, I'm not really a big fan of the manga, but I try not to judge it too harshly because I know Togashi suffers from a lot of health issues, which has kind of hindered his ability to draw effectively, because the art in Yu Yu Hakusho is really good, and the art in kind of the beginning of Hunter x Hunter is pretty good, but then the consistency kind of...
A lot of the details just drop off.
Yeah. And,
which is... I'm fine with. I don't care, but it is something that I notice.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that kind of contributes to like a lot of like the fight layout on the pages. But yeah, by the end of that dodgeball sequence, like, even though a lot of the shading was like really good.
The dodgeball fight was very well handled, but I agree. Reading through a lot of, maybe it's just because the last manga I read was One Piece, and the action scenes in One Piece are very, very clean and easy to read, and very expressive. Going to this, where it's just like, it's a little bit hard to parse sometimes.
I really like the action on the page in One Piece, and I really like the action on the page in Bleach, so going to this, it was just really... I was struggling.
Yeah, no, I also struggled.
Yeah, I don't really feel the weight of motion in this on the page until that dodgeball scene. I'm like, yes!
There's a lot of that misses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. But yeah, Greed Island is probably, aside from maybe the first arc, my least favorite arc. But
yeah, I'd put like Chimera Ant and then like York New and then probably Succession, Greed Island, Hunter Exam.
I've read like the tail beginning of the Succession arc.
Succession is right out, it's in the anime. It's the arc directly after Chimera Ant.
Oh.
Yes.
There's the chairman election.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, the Succession Wars are
oh, that's different?
That's what's going on like current.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Yes, anyway. Fucking, what's it called?
Greed Island.
Greed Island. Yu-Gi-Oh! Spell game on Island, Gon's dad made.
And my frame of reference for that genre is not very big, which is probably why I don't like this.
Right, I think I don't like the card game stuff because I wanted it to be more card game stuff, and it's not.
It's not. It's a lot of just like, here's the fast travel system for this game. Nothing else like...
Yeah, that's really like all it's really used for. They like steal something, they clone stuff, but in general it's more just like, we're gonna teleport around.
Greed Island in the anime... there was a similar issue with the Hunter Exam that happens a lot in the Greed Island art, where in the manga, where it's a lot of tell, never show. You definitely get a lot more feel for the card game system in the anime. So similar to the issue that I had with Hunter Exam, where it's like, there are a lot of cool creatures, I want to see them. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of cool cards and card stuff, I want to see that. It's just not present here. So a lot of it is just like... the plot points straight to the veins of just like, these are the only cards that matter, all the other cards are kind of just whatever. Yeah. Which is a shame, because like because I read through all the card descriptions and like, there's a lot of cool shit here. There's a lot of really fun design like loot things here. Mm-hmm. I think the most creative thing the manga did was the whole like lucky dice thing. Like I like that, but it was overused by the time it showed up for the third time.
Yeah.
It's just... Why?
Yeah, it's whenever they do a card in the manga, it's like, and now we're gonna do it a billion times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like Greed Island enough. It's fine. I do think it weirdly suffers because it feels like I wouldn't maybe have as big of an issue with this if it was spaced out a little more, but like it feels like it's got two climaxes and they're back to back because you have the dodgeball game and then immediately into
that's always been my issue with Greed Island, is that has always felt disjointed because the dodgeball scene was so fucking good, and then it's just like, oh yeah, we have to actually conclude this. But even so, I like the fight with Genthru a lot.
No, so do I. And I think it probably would have been more effective had he beaten Genthru first and then had to prove himself by really beating the game by getting the last card from fucking Razor.
I have always agreed with that. I think that those 2 points, if they had flipped, the back half flow would have got a lot better. Mm-hmm.
London? I did not like the Bomberman.
Yeah.
Because I think the main thing is like, he shows up, and you don't hear from him for like 30 chapters. And then he shows up, and then you don't hear from him. Yeah. And he's just not very...
I like his final fight with Gon, but a huge part of what's always carried him for me is the fact that he's just a Kira reference.
Yeah. Like,
Part 4 of JoJo's.
He is one of the first 4 characters.
Kira from Death Note. Like, that wasn't written.
He's like one of 4 like directly ripped off JoJo's characters.
Yeah, no, there's a few of them throughout the course of Hunter x Hunter. Palm is the big one.
Knuckle.
Knuckle for sure.
Yeah. Gone. Yep.
Killua.
But the whole
just naming characters.
The way I've always viewed everything pre-Chimera Ant is it's a lot of Togashi kind of figuring out like the smaller things to make everything work, and then everything kind of collides in Chimera Ant. I don't know how much I like Chimera Ant once I read the rest of the manga. I've liked it so far.
Yeah,
but there's a lot that I'm hesitant with. Because a lot of what Greed Island does is serves to kind of finish up the Nen training, so that way you, in theory, have the ability to parse through the fights as they get more and more, not going to break everything down minute by minute. And also to give Gon and Killua their signature moves, which Gon is playing rock, paper, scissors, which I really fucking like. I just think that's fun. And then Killua gets electricity because he's been shocked a lot since he was a kid, which is just a very sad and disgusting thought.
It's actually because he looks like Pikachu, but that's the real reason.
Fuck, you got me. And then also introducing like Biscuit and then Ying's friends. I like Biscuit's training things because she just beats up Gon and Killua a lot.
Mostly Killua.
And just so I started training with someone. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna dig this tunnel several miles through a cliff to reach the city."
And you're like, time to do it again.
And then you're gonna do it again.
No, I really like it, especially since like I like Ween, and I admit that what I'm about to say is definitely the charm of his character, but he's very much just kind of lame.
Yeah.
He's just a guy.
He's just a dude.
Doesn't have his shirt tucked in all the way. Like, he's just a guy. He's like, yeah, I'm going to teach you. And then, like, Bisky shows up and she's like, oh, yeah, he's kind of lame. Let me show you.
He kind of sucks.
Let me show you how it's really done and give you some real training. Yeah, they even, like, have that fucking line where it's like, yeah, those who can't do, teach. Like, they're just taking pot shots at him. But yeah, I
mean, that largely concludes it. So the conclusion to Greed Island is Gon and Killua win the game. The whole point of the game was you collect 100 specific cards. You get to pull 3 from the game into real life. The game was in real life, but you can take them off island where they'll actually work, and the effects they range from stupid to crazy.
Yeah.
But Gon's dad kind of hid an Easter egg for really only Gon to figure out. Where he had to smuggle out one of the fast travel cards to teleport to his dad, but he doesn't because he made it so essentially there's a group teleport and the singular teleport. If Gon did the singular teleport, he would have gone immediately to his dad. If he did a group teleport, he would have gone to a guy that we met at the beginning, whose name is Kite, which is just a guy that like knew
Shanks.
Yeah,
Shanks.
Yeah.
He's pretty much
Shanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Hunter x Hunter is not the only fucking manga guilty of copy-pasting Shanks into its
That's why I think I like Kite, and he's the only one that I like remember, because I'm like, this guy is like Shanks.
Yeah, Kite's cool, like, once you actually do get more familiar with his character in Chimera Ant, it's clear that he's much more of a Jotaro than he is a Shanks, but in terms of the role he kind of fulfills, he's very Shanks-like in...
I do like this scene where there's like, Kite? And he's like, oh, hey, guy. Yeah. I do think it would have been funny if this is the first time you saw Kite.
Just in the anime.
That's how the anime handles
it. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really dumb, but that's good.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, Gon, it's me. And then you get like a short, like, really abridged, not even full version of what happens in the first chapter flashback that gives you just the bare basics of it.
But that ends the Greed Island arc and starts the Chimera Ant arc, which we did not cover.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, I will always like Hunter x Hunter. It's my favorite anime. It is not my favorite manga. I think the parts that the manga does good are better in the anime, and the parts that the anime does bad, the manga does terribly. It's not my preferred experience. It works in a pinch because you can read through it very, very fast. You might not know what you read, but you can read it fast.
I think the manga is mostly not as good as the anime, although there are little moments where I think the anime, the 2011 version, does fall flat. Because they had to evenly distribute their budget across all the episodes, which I think is a very good thing, and it had more pros and cons in that anime adaptation, but it does lead towards some moments not getting the proper amount of emphasis that they need. Like, there's a scene where Kurapika is like, I forget specifically what it is, but they're trying to get the scarlet eyes back from somebody after they're trying to run off with them.
Yep.
And they do like a really intimidating like stare. That does not come across in the anime.
No.
It's just like their eyes just turn red, but they look the same as they always do. Whereas in both the 99 and the manga, it's like, it's clear that it's like, oh, this face is like
the face of a killer,
supposed to invoke fear. Like, but yeah. I really like Hunter x Hunter. I haven't gone through it properly since when I first went through it in high school. So this time I noticed a lot more criticisms than I've had of it in the past.
Yep, me too.
I'm definitely not one of those Hunter x Hunter is like perfect people.
It's not.
Are kind of a cliche that exists out there. But, yeah, it's, I still really like it despite its flaws, and yeah, I'm really excited to reread Chimera Ant arc myself and more of what happens afterwards, because I've been wanting to read the post-anime stuff for years, and I've read a little bit of it.
I tried to give it a shot, and I could not stomach it.
My issue with it is every time I've tried it, I haven't like refreshed myself on the old stuff, so I'm always just like, fuck, I don't remember the ins and outs of Nen specifically. Yeah. I need to fucking go back and learn the difference between Nen and N. And
London, you hated it.
I didn't hate it, but I thought it was pretty bad. There are moments that I thought, this could be leading something good. And then it never really does. There are moments I enjoyed. I, in general, like Gon and Kahlua and Kurapika and Leorio. And I think Hisoka, when he's not being a really, like, a creepy pervert, I think has some interesting characterization.
Yeah, I think that his character, the way it's, like, balanced out...
It's substantially better in the manga versus the anime, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
He's way worse in the anime.
Yeah, I've seen. It's only, like, 2 times in the manga, and I was like, yeah.
I think it's fine. I feel like it didn't cross any major lines in the manga until they got to Greed Island, when it did start kind of becoming way more blatant and frequent, where it was like, okay, I don't need to see all this. I don't need that walk behind scene in Greed Island. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
But and yeah, there's more stuff that I could dive into, but it gets into like Chimera Ant arc spoilers. But yeah, I still really like Hunter x Hunter.
Regardless of my enjoyment on this stuff, I probably will read Chimera Ant because it seems like I might like it because, you know, it's relatively divisive on if people like it or not. So maybe I'll like it because I didn't like the rest. Yeah, it's unfortunate because I want to enjoy things, and I have so many friends who love Hunter x Hunter, but I was just like, nothing really worked for me in this.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just
happens.
I want to enjoy things, but unfortunately today I am going to be a hater ex-hater.
I'm just glad I finally got you to get through like a portion of it.
Yeah.
Achieving something the best portion, but you know, we'll get there.
Oh, yeah,
we'll get there.
I'll read Chimera Ant probably slowly, maybe I'll just...
You'll drop off at that point in the middle where everyone says it sags, which it kind of does. But
that's the point. That's the best part. That's the best part of the arc, in my opinion.
It's like
I don't agree, but
no,
I think
it's the best part of the arc.
Do you think so?
I 100% agree.
Interesting.
100% agree with yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I am fully confident in my liking of the one scene where 30 seconds takes 20 episodes.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Personally, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. Personally, I don't mind that. It's kind of the part leading up to that. That's fair. That's fair. And that's where most people tend to drop it in my experience when I talk to them. They're like, yeah, I was with it, but then like it was starting to drag. And I was like, yeah, it's a bit of a slow burn, that arc, but god damn when it catches flame.
So, would you recommend reading Hunter x Hunter? At least this chunk of Hunter x Hunter.
That's such a... yes, no. I think if you like the anime and are a big fan, it's definitely worth it to go back and read the source material. If it's your first foray and you just want to get through the story, it's serviceable. I will, at this point, recommend the anime versus the manga. I think the pacing is a lot better. You get a lot more time with the characters. You have a lot more time to digest all of the complicated systems. I think the info dumps are handled substantially better just because you have more time with it. I overall enjoyed my experience with the anime better than I liked the manga. Still think the manga is serviceable at best.
I would say read the first arc and then watch the rest.
Yeah.
I would say get as far away as possible from this piece of shit.
No. Let's go!
If you like shonen, you'll probably like this. I don't know. It's a toss-up. I didn't like it. But, maybe I've just been drinking too much of the haterade.
Maybe I haven't been drinking enough.
That's true. You never have. You gotta be haters like me and Thomas.
No. Speaking of hating Thomas, what are we going to hate to read?
We're going to read the Bible next month.
Let's go.
Where are you in One Piece?
I started Fishman Island. They just so time skip literally just happened. Everyone got back onto the ship and went underwater, and I stopped reading.
Okay. We're not doing that then.
Okay.
I was thinking about picking Wano, but I'm not going to do that to you.
I'll do it.
No, it'll take too long.
No, I'll do it. I'll do it.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
It'll be like 3 months from now.
Nope, I'll do it. I need motivation to get me through, to get back into One Piece.
That's like 50 volumes worth of material. Yeah, it's a lot.
And I think if you read it, you would have trouble getting through.
I think by the time we got to the section that I want to read for it, you would feel burnt out at that moment.
No.
I love One Piece, but reading it consecutively like that. Maybe.
I felt burnt out when I got to one. I also read 1,000 in a row. But
yeah, I'm on chapter 605 right now? What, so I have to finish like 1100?
No, you'd have to get to 940. No, 9.
You have about 400 chapters worth of material, including what we would read.
Easy.
Okay, fine. We'll do Wano then.
We don't have to. I'm mainly memeing. I'm kind of just pushing you to see how far you were gonna go.
Okay, we won't do Wano. We will instead. Okay. Do you guys? Because it comes out later this year. Do you guys care if we read Dune? Do you want to save?
I'm down to read Dune.
We can read Dune.
Dune Book 1, baby!
Dune Book 1.
Cool, I got it in the corner. Joe has a really cool copy of it.
Very cool copy.
Sweet! Yeah. I was thinking about that. I'm much happier reading that than rereading Wano. Just because I just finished, I'm like, do I want to reread it right now?
Yeah,
maybe a couple months. Joking. Next pick, maybe.
Yeah, I want to reread it because I want to, I haven't read through it all in one go.
That's right. So by that point, I'll just be caught up, hopefully.
Cool. What a wonderful day.
It's getting good.
Yeah. Goodbye!
Goodbye, everyone!